Hello, welcome to this week's episode of The India Story, the show where we track the latest developments in the world's largest democracy for a global audience. Now, the India Story is, of course, a unique one because this is a country with 1.4 billion people, thousands of cultures, languages, interests, issues, and an infinite potential for growth. We felt we needed a little bit more time to delve into these intricacies and paint a holistic picture of everything that the India Story encompasses. Also get in all the big newsmakers out of India, which is why you now find us coming to you with a longer show, 1 hour, every Friday night at 8 p.m. on everything of relevance in India, but also going beyond the headlines to gain a deeper understanding of our polity, of our culture, and of our place in the world. We've got a great show lined up for you today, starting with an exclusive interview with Union Minister Nitin Gadkari on the remarkable achievements in India's highways and expressways infrastructure. He's the person who's been building this for 8 years. How has he done it? At a time when people used to say, India cannot build roads, it's not possible. Somehow or the other, it's been done, and it's being done. How is that happening? Nitin Gadkari is going to be telling us. On this show, we also have for you a deep dive into China and its latest provocations on the Arunachal Pradesh question. We have news from the world of entertainment and a new segment that we're introducing, looking at India through the lens of what the rest of the world is actually saying. All of that and a lot more coming up. But let's start with Nitin Gadkari. I have to tell you that one of the most positive, in-your-face manifestations of the India story and the potential of India is what's been happening on India's roads, especially the highways and now the expressways. In the not-so-distant past, we've all seen or heard jokes about the potholes of Indian roads, and even on the highways, those big expressways that we should have been proud of, there were potholes on them, there were people encroaching. You used to be driving and there would be tractors coming on the wrong side, cows crossing the road, suddenly having to screech to a halt. Today, we're seeing a very different India emerging on the highways and on the expressways. Let me just give you a few simple examples. Take a look at this. The 1,350-kilometer long, 8-lane wide Delhi-Mumbai expressway. It's going to be India's longest, and it's going to be launched. It's already started. The first segments of it have already been inaugurated. The rest will be done within a year, maybe a year and a half. It's going to be reducing travel time between the cities by 50%. Or take a look at this, the Mumbai-Nagpur Expressway. It connects 24 districts in the state, and it has reduced travel time between Mumbai and Nagpur to 8 hours from 16 hours. Or this, the expressway that is running to Lucknow through Uttar Pradesh, it has cut travel time already. You can speed along that right now. The Delhi to Meerut Expressway, designed for high vehicular traffic, connects Delhi and Meerut in a record time, 45 minutes. It used to take 2.5 hours earlier. The Delhi-Dehradun Expressway, that's something else that's under construction right now. It takes about 5.5 hours right now. You will be able to make that journey in 2.5 hours. Just a few months from now, maybe a year from now. Delhi-Amritsar, a travel time of 10 hours. It's going to be completed in about 4 hours, a short while from now. The journey from Bengaluru to Chennai is going to take less than 3 hours. That is what is happening. Look across the map. This is a dramatic transformation. How is all of this happening? Look, there was already a national highway program that's been rolled out all the way back at the time of the Golden Quadrilateral. The highway program was up and running. Now, many of the roads are being upgraded and they're fresh greenfield expressways they are coming. What's the difference? On the expressway, you can travel at 120 kilometers. And because these are access-controlled expressways, they're elevated. You can't just cross existing Indian national highways. You're driving along, and as I was telling you, somebody's crossing. There's an encroachment taking place. Cows are crossing the road. You're having trucks coming the wrong side. It cannot happen on the expressways. So you can actually travel at 120 kilometers for a very, very long period of time. And you maintain that, there are massive benefits. And then there are other things. You have roadside amenities. You have spur roads that are connecting the expressways to individual cities. The expressway program runs together with the overall objectives, which are to connect the country all around with 2 lakh kilometers of all-weather national highways. You know something, only 2% of our road network right now is national highways, and yet that carries 40% of road traffic. So essentially the idea of the entire highway program is you double the connectivity to the hinterland by connecting 500 out of the 718 districts in the country. Now, these plans, Bharat Pariyojana as it was called one, it has seen some delays. The Bharat Pariyojana plan, Bharatmala phase 1, it was launched in 2017 and it should have created approximately 35,000 kilometers by 2022. Pandemic and some other roadblocks, including around environmental clearances or land acquisitions, did slow it down, but it's being told to us that that plan is back on track, and also there are plans to kick off phase 2 in parallel. So at the end of the day, you might still be able to achieve all the goals in a very definite period of time. Can it really happen? Do we have the financial strength to be able to complete both the phases in parallel? Estimated budget could be something like $130 billion. How is that going to be managed? How will we overcome issues such as land acquisition and environmental clearances and all those other questions that have plagued projects over the period of time? Well, who better to answer that question than Nitin Gadkari, the Minister for Road Transport, the person who's been driving this entire initiative for the last 8 years, the person who's widely credited with having changed the face of India's highways and expressways. And I got the chance to sit down with him for a rather exhaustive, exclusive interview earlier this week. I'm going to now play that for you.
Well, anybody who comes to India and tries to understand the India story, there is one aspect of the India story that strikes you right in the face. When you're driving from one city to the other in India, you cannot help but be staggered by the sort of highways and expressways that are now being built. Many thought it was impossible, but it has started to be possible. And we are with the man who has made it all possible, Nitin Gadkari, Minister for Roads, Transport. Nitin, I have to say that the roads that you have built, the expressways that you have built, are quite, even the international press is now talking about them. What do you think is the secret for it? Because people say a country like India cannot build roads like this.
Actually, frankly speaking, we need to develop good industry, capital investment. Without that, we cannot eradicate poverty. Because for creating industry, we need water, power, transport and communication. Without this infrastructure, we don't have employment potential. And without employment potential, we cannot eradicate the poverty. So development of infrastructure is the most important priority for the government. And Prime Minister Modi ji has given highest priority for that. And it is a really great thing that we are developing the road infrastructure. And it's my estimate that in the end of 24, it will be equivalent to the road infrastructure of USA.
And in quality or quantity?
Yeah, it's quality and quantity also. We have 6 world record in this year. Actually, we have highest road network of national highway in the world. And we are now, the way in which we are developing the road infrastructure, the quality, using the best technology, using the best material. We are using municipal solid waste in the Delhi ring road too. We have used already 20 lakh ton of municipal waste. In Ahmedabad-Dolero Express Highway, we are using 20 lakh ton of waste from Ahmedabad. So way in which we want to protect ecology and environment, at the same time we want to develop the good road infrastructure, and we are doing for that. We are making tunnels of 2,50,000 crore. We are only making works in Kashmir of 1 lakh crore. We are making the road construction of 5 lakh crore in Northeast, Assam, Arunachal, Meghalaya, Tripura, everywhere. So all part of the India, we have given priority for that, and our budget is also good. At the same time, we are raising fund from the market. We don't have any resources problem, and 100% we will make it with international standard.
I remember interviewing you in 2014, and you had said, I'm going to increase the speed of road construction from 6 or 7 kilometers to 30. And I was almost, you said, watch, we're going to do it, and I didn't believe it. And then it started to happen. And now, of course, critics would say there's some difference between single lane and multiple lane. Is the speed now of road construction much higher than it was earlier?
Actually, when we calculate the construction of the road as per lane is concerned, it is the same. Previously, the same system was there with the international system. And today also, the same system, we are going by that. And today, we have already, now is to last year, we have 38 kilometers. And we are now, for this year also, we will try to maintain that. But this year, because of rains and COVID's impact is there. But still, we will have a good record construction. And we are trying to increase it to make it more for that.
I was just explaining to our viewers who are sometimes looking at India, and this is also going out internationally a lot, and trying to understand what exactly is happening. If you could just explain to us the strategy behind this. So once there was the Golden Quadrilateral, that was there. Then you said, okay, they're going to be national highways. Now there are these expressways coming up, which are access controlled and the speed goes up to 120. And then there's Bharat Pariyojana. So if you could just explain what's the strategy that you're following?
Actually, at the time when I taken charge as the minister, the national highway length was 98,000 kilometers. Presently, it is 1,48,000 kilometers. We have taken the Bharatmala 1, that is of, the project is of 24,000 kilometers, and the cost of the project is 30 lakh crores. So, now we are already have completed some of the road, and already the construction is going on. We now want to start Bharatmala 2. It is with the cabinet approval. And the most important thing I will tell you, when I was shipping minister, there was Sagarmala. My budget was 1,000 crore, and by using that budget, we have taken the program of Sagarmala of 16 lakh crore, and out of which, on the port strength, the 12 major port we have at that time, and we have completed project more than 10 lakh crores. So we raised the funds from the market, capital market, and that is the reason we don't have money problem. My total income is 40,000 crore per year, and next end of 24 it will be 1,40,000 crore.
So you're saying that the roads are being built, but the funds are not necessarily coming from the taxpayer.
Already I am giving you the example. Our budget is good. It is 2,18,000 crore. It's to be a very big budget. But still we can add 2 to 3 lakhs from the capital market. We are raising, we are monetizing the road. I'm giving the example. In our INVIT model, we are just going for Mumbai Stock Exchange for raising funds for our INVIT project. The time was prescribed for 10 days. But in the first day, 7 hours, our bond issue was subscribed 7 times more. That was the response from the investor, because it's a success story, and we are giving return to the people 8.5%, and that is to be, interest will be given every month in their account. The retired people, the pensioners, the service people, they have an opportunity to get the return on their investment 8.5% per year, and they will get the interest every month in their account.
Did I hear you saying that the toll income is going to go from 40,000 crore rupees to north of 100,000
Yes,
crore?
yes. I'm just telling you about the express highway. It is very important. It's a big list. We are making green express highway also. First of Delhi-Mumbai express highway, the size is 1,386 kilometers. Cost of this road is 1,02,000 crore. 64% work has already completed. Then other is Ahmedabad-Dholera, 109 kilometers. The cost of the project is 5,000 crore. 28% work is already completed. The Bangalore-Chennai, presently it takes 5 hours. It will be 2 hours from Bangalore to Chennai. From Delhi to Mumbai, presently it is 48 hours. It will be 12 hours. And from Ahmedabad to Dholera, it will be half hour. So
Delhi to Dehradun, you told me it's going to be 2 hours.
2 hours. Delhi to Dehradun,
Bangalore
Haridwar
to
2 hours.
Chennai.
Delhi to Chandigarh 2.5 hours. Delhi to Jaipur 2 hours. Delhi to Amritsar 4 hours. Delhi to Katra 6 hours. Delhi to Srinagar 8 hours. And now we have just completed the project from Mysore to Bangalore. Presently it's for 4 hours. Now it is 1 hour.
But Gadkari ji, one of the things is these expressways are beautiful. When you get onto the expressway, you're going along at a fantastic rate and it's great. But when you come into the cities, that's when there are all these little bottlenecks that happen. Like today, if you were to go to Jaipur, Delhi to get onto the expressway, from Delhi to get onto the expressway will take you 1 hour. 180 kilometers or you will do in 1 hour, 15 minutes. And then to get into Jaipur will take you another 1.5 hours. So it's that last mile which I think you're trying to fix in Bharat.
Actually, in Jaipur also, I got opportunity to construct ring road of the Jaipur. It is completed. My problem is, city road is with the municipal corporation. The state roads are with the state governments. And in Delhi also, there are some roads with the municipal corporation, some roads with DDA, some roads with the state corporation. I am only responsible for national highway. So it's only possible for me to make any type of expenditure only on national highway. I cannot make any expenditure on other roads.
And then you have to persuade the cities and the state government.
But
to
now
say,
I am just
fix the
telling you
connectivity.
the example of Delhi. Can you believe me that we are doing road construction in Delhi of rupees 62,000 crore near to Delhi. I am just giving you the detail about it. The Dwarka Express Highway, the work is going on, 80% is completed. The length of the road is 30 kilometers and cost is 10,000 crore. 6-lane UER, Urban Extension Road, 76 kilometers, cost is 9,000 crore, 57% work is completed. This is very important road. Now from Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, you are coming to airport. Just before after Panipat, the peripheral road is there. And from that point going up to the airport, it takes 2.5 hours. But we are making new this 6-lane UER2, by which we can go to airport within 20 minutes to Dwarka.
That will presumably help in pollution in Delhi. If you can fix the pollution in Delhi,
I am sure that up to end of 24, we will reduce the pollution of Delhi by 50%. That is to be guaranteed, I am given to you.
50%?
Yes.
Pollution reduction.
Because the Delhi's maximum pollution is because of the fossil fuel. And even for Parli and other things, we have taken a lot of initiative. 100% we will reduce the pollution of Delhi by 50%.
One miracle, Gadkari ji, and I've asked you this question I think before also. No, you can build beautiful roads, that's not, and the fact that you've done that is very creditable. What has truly taken me by surprise is the fact that there have been no protests, no danga, no people parading around and saying, how can you do this? Because it used to be said, China can build roads and not India because China can just take people's land. India, you will have so much problem in land acquisition, you will never be able to build expressways. And yet you built a 1,200 kilometer Delhi-Mumbai expressway in what, 2 years, 3 years, and there's not been any ruckus over land acquisition. How have you managed that?
First of all, we are given the land acquisition cost to the farmers reasonably good. Now presently it is to be more than more than the market cost. And actually what my feeling is, I am farmer. So we want to take the land with the farmer with the reasonable cost. We don't want to exploit them. The other important thing is environment, forest clearance, utility shifting, railway problems. There is a committee appointed under my chairmanship. The Prime Minister appointed a committee, infrastructure committee. We are every time taking the subjects, all related with the roads and other infrastructure projects. And the response from all the ministries is good. And one of the important decisions which we have taken, at the time when I was taken charge as the minister, there was 402 projects costing 3,85,000 crores, stole project. My department and my ministry saved the Indian banks from the NPA of 3 lakh crores, and we resolved the issue. And that is the reason that today, without having 90% of the land acquisition, without having all clearances from the forest and environment and railway, we have first of all we are given priority for utility shifting, and after that we are giving appointment date, and that is the reason we don't have any problem.
But looking at the land acquisition point that you were just making, you're saying that earlier what used to happen was that the farmers were given 10% or 5% of what the actual value of their land was. So they were bound to protest about it. Now you are saying you're giving them higher in the market value of the land, so they're very happy to offer it up.
Now people are coming to me, not saying that don't acquire my land. They are coming to me that you have already acquired this land, the balance land is with us, now you can acquire this for roadside amenities and other things. Because they are happy. we are giving good rate to them.
And the fact you're paying higher for the land in land acquisition, you probably make that money up, right, by being able to do the projects faster without getting stuck in litigation, without getting...
Yes. Actually, for the green alignment, for making expansion of the road, for the property, we need to give them reasonable acquisition cost. That is very important. Because in Indian situation, it was particularly there was a passion that with the low cost we acquired the land, and there was no, they can't appeal anywhere, and that is the reason there was lot of disturbances because of everyone was disturbed, and that the reason that after 2014, the new Land Acquisition Act which was passed. Fortunately, I was Minister for Rural Development at that time, because the death of Gopinath Mundeji, the Prime Minister has given me the charge, and the bill was introduced to the Parliament, and it's really a reasonably good bill, and because of that farmers are getting justice, and that resolved the problem.
So once they're getting justice, they don't mind giving the land.
Yes.
One of the other things you were talking about is looking after the environment. So that will always be a problem. One is giving good compensation to the farmers. Sometimes to build those roads, you'll have to cut trees. In the Dehradun, Delhi one, you're going over the forest, you're giving wildlife corridors. So you have to balance the environment with the need to build those expressways and roads.
We need to balance development with the environment. We have to protect the ecology and environment. For just I am giving you the example. For this we have 3 crores 76 lakh of plantation, out of which 3 crore 56 lakhs already it is e-tag. And now we have taken a decision that we should have a tree of 3 meter size. We have successfully transplanted the tree more than 1 lakh now. So we don't want to cut the tree. We want to protect
You're transplanting the tree.
Yes. And at the same time, the most important thing is regarding the road construction. Now we are planning to use bio-bitumen. We have a big project in Panipat from Indian Oil. The project is making bio-bitumen, 150 ton of bitumen per day and 1 lakh liter of bioethanol per day. And they are using Parali, and because of burning of problem, Parali is a big problem in Delhi. That is one of the important reasons for the pollution.
So instead of using stubble, burning the stubble, it can be used for bitumen.
Yes. Now I am going to launch. Presently in India, we have requirement of bitumen 80 lakh ton. Out of its Indian refineries capacities of 50 lakh ton, and 30 lakh ton we need to import. Now idea is there is a tractor molded unit of costing 20 lakhs rupees, and it is to be proven technology from Central Research Organization and CSIR. They have present with the technology. Now we are formulating the policy by which farmers can make bitumen, and we will purchase from them, and they will get. Now presently the farmers are Annadata. After that we started the green ethanol and other thing. We name it as Urja Data, and now we will make farmer as a bitumen data. And diversification of agriculture towards energy and power sector is the mission for me. I am working from 2004 on this subject. We have to protect the ecology and environment. At the same time, we need to increase the growth rate of agriculture and rural India.
But the biggest challenge that will probably be facing, once these roads are built and everything is great, but I'm sure you feel that one of the most biggest inflection points that is now coming is with electric vehicles. The entire era of petrol burning or fossil fuel burning cars will go, and you will have electric cars coming. What can you do to make that change faster? How does India become one of the leaders in electric vehicles, not a follower?
Actually, as far as the automobile manufacturer is concerned, the size of the industry is 7.50 lakhs crores. Now I am telling you, we out of which 50% we have export. And this is the industry which is giving maximum GST to the state and central government. This is the industry up till now create 4 crore 50 lakhs jobs. Now my mission as a transport minister to make this industry of 15 lakh crore. Now our number was number 4. Japan was number 3rd. The China was number 1, USA was number 2, Japan was number 3rd, and India was number 4. But just last month, we surpassed Japan. Now our number is number 3rd.
We make more cars than Japan.
Yes, and I will tell you, you take it from me, that within 5 years, we want to make Indian automobile industry number 1 in the world. We have all reputed brands present in Indian market. And now because of electric vehicle, the Make in India, Made in India, and because of Atmanirbhar Bharat, we have got the skilled, trained engineering manpower available in India. Raw materials are available in India. Now just we have got this lithium ion stocks in Jammu and Kashmir. Every year we have an import of 1200 ton of lithium ion. Now I am sure that we are now developing the chemistry by aluminum ion, zinc ion, steel ion, by which we will create alternatives. Our startups are doing excellent jobs. And not only in electric, we are working on ethanol, methanol, biodiesel, bio-CNG, bio-LNG, electric and hydrogen. I have got car. This is the first car in India which I have got. You can take the run of that car, it is on hydrogen.
I'm going to take a hydrogen fuel car.
Yes, I have got it. I am
going to
taking
take
that. Yes, I will just take it. This give you the car. You just take the drive of it.
All right. So green hydrogen is one option, which is India is trying to be one of the leaders in hydrogen fuel cars. But when it comes to electric vehicles, there's the perception that China has got a clear edge. BYD, others. So China is really manufacturing a lot of electric cars. Is it your vision that we should try and phase out petrol cars and move to these new technologies within a certain period of time?
Actually,
in a time-bound manner.
I am not very much interested in all these theoretical questions. I am asking you a simple question. If you have a petrol car and your expenditure on the petrol is 30,000 rupees per month, and by electric car with the more comforts, your expense will be 3,000 rupees per month. I don't need to make marketing of that. People are taking, there is a waiting list. For Tata and Mahindra electric car, there is a waiting list. Even electric bike also, there is a waiting list.
But your capital costs originally can be a little higher and maybe you have to replace
Yes,
batteries
it is to be $150 per hour, something that cost is going on. But I feel that now it is coming to $115. And now within 1 or 2 years, it will be $100. Then it will be equivalent to petrol vehicle.
Fine, so let's wait
So
for that.
now in the all cities, we have electric buses. I just telling you the success story of electric buses. Now we have just received the tender of electric bus. Non-AC bus, it comes 39 rupees per kilometer. And for AC bus, it comes 41 rupees per kilometer. And the cost of the diesel bus is 115 rupees per kilometer. So today it's economically viable. We can afford air-conditioned electric buses, and by which we can reduce the cost of ticket by 30%.
But what about the charging infrastructure, which is still not at that level? I know you're putting charging stations in those expressways that you're building.
You go and see, I have got charging in my house. I will show you. You take the shooting of that. So there is everywhere the electric car, electric scooter. Everyone can charge his car and scooter at night in his house. And for making big, Delhi to Simla, Delhi to Mumbai, Delhi to Lucknow, where we need charging stations, we are now developing 670 roadside amenities on national highway, and everywhere there will be the charging station.
Mr. Gadkari, I'm sure you will be able to build the expressways, you'll be able to build the highways, you may even get electric cars to run everywhere, it could even be hydrogen. How are you going to teach the Indian people to drive and follow all rules? How is that going to be achieved? This is the lane or AC lane mein chalunga. How are you going to get someone to do that?
You are absolutely correct. This is a subject where my success story is not very satisfactory. Every year we have 5 lakhs accidents, 1,50,000 deaths. There are problems related to road engineering, automobile engineering. There was some problem with the enforcement of law. We have already passed road safety bill, so we are taking action. The cameras, all things are there. There is a problem with the education also. We need to educate the people. And now I have come to conclude after 8 years, it is a problem of human behavior. कानून के प्रति डर भी नहीं और सम्मान भी नहीं, ऐसी विचित्र अवस्था में हम हैं. We need to educate the people. We need the help from media. We need help from the education institution, universities, colleges, NGOs, social organizations, and we need to change the behavior of the people.
The same people go to Dubai. I mean, if you go to Dubai or you go to the Middle East, I was just coming from there, every single taxi driver and every person who's out there seems to be from India. Some of them are Pakistan, but a lot of them are from India. They're being able to drive perfectly fine there. They follow all the rules. They go in the same lane. They don't overtake the wrong side.
We are taking a lot of initiative. You are absolutely correct. This is a problem. The problem of, because of we need to change the human behavior. They need to understand, because the death in this 1,50,000 death, even you compare with any war, any COVID, any problem, the death, particularly in India, 1,50,000 death in road accidents, and out of which 34% deaths belongs to age of 18 to 24. Unfortunately, it's very bad. We need to stop that. That is the reason now we are taking a lot of initiative. We have a lot of program on the TV, the celebrities like Amitabh Bachchan, Akshay Kumar ji, they are all giving cooperation for that. And the day will come that we will change the human behavior, and 100% we are working on that. But still I am telling you, we don't have good results. We need to work hard for that. We are
Tougher
trying.
licensing, could that be the solution?
Already it is started. Now you cannot get the license. There are 16 digital systems by which we have already simplified the system. Problem is the human behavior. When there is a red signal, this is that he should stop there. If suppose the lane discipline, he should to have the obey the lane discipline. The problem is helmet. For the two-wheeler, he has to, helmet is important for him for if the accident, it is very important for the safety of his life. But unfortunately, people are not taking seriously. That is one of the reasons. But still now the people, the human behavior is changing, but we need to do more for that. This is a problem. And sometimes I feel that in my own ministry, everything is a success story. But regarding road accident, I feel that we need to do more for that. We don't have a satisfactory result for that.
Nitin Gadkari ji, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nitin Gadkari speaking to me just a short while back. Look, those are very ambitious plans that he's talking about. But to be fair and to be frank, if someone had told you 8 years ago or 9 years ago that it was going to be possible to build a greenfield expressway all the way from Delhi to Mumbai, and it's going to be built within 2 to 3 years, and you will have the ability to go from Delhi to Mumbai in just 12 hours, you wouldn't have believed it. A lot of what has already been achieved in roads and highways is frankly really impressive. It used to be said, China can build roads, China can acquire the land and drive expressways from one part of the country to the other. India will never be able to do that, and certainly not on a greenfield basis. But it has happened. And so let's hope that the rest of those ambitious plans that Nitin Gadkari was talking about right now also come to pass, and come to pass fairly soon. All right, let's move on now to China and China's latest provocations, specifically around Arunachal Pradesh. 1 month ago, India's foreign minister met his Chinese counterpart in Delhi. 5 months from now, India will play host to China's President Xi Jinping for the G20 summit. Amid all of this diplomatic engagement, which to be fair is fairly downgraded from what it was just a few years ago, Beijing has decided to needle New Delhi again. After Ladakh, China's new focus appears to be the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh, which shields the rest of the northeast from Beijing. So what is the latest provocation that China is throwing at India? And how have Delhi and the other world powers reacted? What China is doing essentially is, it says, we're going to be renaming areas in Arunachal Pradesh. Remember, Arunachal Pradesh is an Indian state, an integral part of India. The Minister for Law comes from Arunachal Pradesh. There's no really doubt about who's in possession out there. And now China is coming out and saying, we're going to rename parts of this. So clearly it's a provocation, and it's not crystal clear as to why China is doing this. And I'm going to be discussing that question with Professor Harsh Pant a short while from now. But before I do that, let's take you through the latest developments when it comes to China's provocations in Arunachal Pradesh.
After nearly 3 years of keeping Ladakh burning, China seems to be trying to ignite the tinderbox in Arunachal Pradesh. For the third time since 2017, Beijing announced new names for 11 places in the northeast state on the 2nd of April. This diplomatic offensive came around 4 months after military aggression in Arunachal's Tawang area, when Chinese soldiers tried to enter Indian territory. They were repelled by Indian troops after a bloody scuffle. Now the Modi government and the Jinping administration are engaged in a war of words over China's latest stunt. While Delhi said that announcing invented names won't change the reality on the ground, Beijing called this its sovereign right as Arunachal is Chinese territory. With tensions rising in the region once again, let's take a look at the history of the dispute over the northeast state. The 1914 Simla Pact demarcated the boundary between British India and Tibet. The McMahon Line divided areas along undefined borders in the region. However, the Chinese representative did not consent to the Simla Convention. China reportedly claims 90,000 square kilometers of Arunachal or the entire state. Beijing cites Tibet and Tawang's historical Buddhist ties as proof of its claim. China refers to Arunachal as Zhangnan and South Tibet. But why is China so interested in Arunachal? There are 5 major reasons according to experts. The first is that Arunachal is the closest site for India to launch missile attacks on key Chinese cities. Another military factor is that the state is a prime location for India to station air defense systems against the PLA. Also, Arunachal's Tawang is a gateway to the northeast, being a critical stop on the Tibet-Brahmaputra Valley corridor. Apart from strategic reasons, China fears that the close people-to-people ties between the residents of Tibet and Arunachal can fuel rebellions in Tibet. Additionally, if China controls Arunachal, it would make it easier for Beijing to dominate Bhutan. With all these factors in mind, China reacts vehemently whenever Indian and Tibetan leaders visit Arunachal. One manner of retaliation is the renaming spree, which first occurred soon after the Dalai Lama visited the state in 2017. It is a way of keeping the border dispute simmering and keeping China's illegal claim on Arunachal in the headlines. In 1960, India and China agreed to work on resolving the extensive border dispute. But more than 60 years later, that goal seems more unattainable than ever, with Beijing opening one front after another.
Bharat Mata ki!
So what comes next? India is already dealing with military aggression and diplomatic offensives. Now Beijing can up the ante by engaging in water warfare with Delhi, experts believe. Being upriver, China can control the flow of river water to India's northeast. Beijing has constructed several dams on the Yalung-Sangpo River, which is called Siang and Brahmaputra in India. Harnessing these, China can cause both droughts and floods in the northeast, warn observers. This appears to be the next challenge which Delhi must prepare for while fending off China's constant guerrilla line attacks.
And to try and understand what exactly it is that the Chinese are up to, it's a great pleasure to be joined by Professor Harsh Pant, Vice President, Studies and Foreign Affairs at the Observer Research Foundation, King's University, and a number of other places as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor Pant. What exactly is it that the Chinese hope to achieve by renaming places in Arunachal Pradesh, other than needling India, annoying India, and ensuring that India is going to remain an adversary for quite some time to come?
Well, it seems like a pincer kind of a movement, that you keep the pressure boiling on the border, and at the same time you create new realities, new facts on the ground, so that even when you are negotiating from a position of strength, right? They will come to so tomorrow when the boundary negotiations restart, they will come to the negotiating table with all their legalese. And they would say that, look, this is what we have been saying all along, and we have been gradually making a case to you and to wider international community and to public that we have never renounced any of these claims. So they are, I think, in some ways using what is called lawfare. That they have changed the realities on the ground. They have come up with the new border law, which came into effect last January, and gradually by renaming names, by renaming places in Arunachal, I think they are establishing their credentials as the dominant party in these negotiations. So I think India will have to be well prepared, both to fight them out at the border as well as a very strong legal defense that will eventually happen whenever you have diplomatic negotiations.
You know, Professor Pant, it's one thing for the Chinese to do this in the South China Sea, as they often do, find an unoccupied rock and put an airstrip in that and say, guess what, this is Chinese territory. But in the case of Arunachal Pradesh, it's somewhat different. I mean, India has been in possession of Arunachal Pradesh all along. Our law ministers from Arunachal Pradesh, people in Arunachal Pradesh vote in elections. There's absolutely no doubt as to who is in possession of the state of Arunachal Pradesh. So changing the names of some territories over there is not going to create any doubt in anybody's mind anywhere in the world, including in China, as to who's in possession of Arunachal Pradesh and the fact that it's an integral part of India.
Yes, but I think, Vikram, Chinese also never really gave up on keeping the pressure on India, right? So every time you would have a prime ministerial visit or every time you will have Dalai Lama visiting there, they would come out with an official statement, and that's their strategy, right? They don't give up on their even smallest of claims, hoping that some of these claims could be used at the negotiating table. So they are, in that sense, they have a peculiar way of negotiating, and they have a peculiar way of keeping the pressure on. So even when they were, we had relatively better ties with them. You would recall that off and on Arunachal would come up, you as a reporter or you would report it, that they are saying, they have come up with a statement that, look, Arunachal, South Tibet belongs to China, and this is India is occupying it. So they have consistently from their position made this statement. Of course, as you point out, it's a reality as to who is in control. And a lot of this would depend on how far are they willing to go militarily on the border. But as they are demonstrating, just last December, we had Tawang, engagements with the soldiers on both sides. Again, both the pressures are on from militarily, diplomatically, as well as I think through the legal mechanisms which they keep on perpetuating.
But having said that about the Chinese thinking long terms, I'm not sure whether the Chinese are thinking through the full implications of all of this. We've already seen the United States coming out very strongly in India's defense on this issue and saying very clearly Arunachal Pradesh is part of India. Now, there may be a lot of irritants, a lot of irritation that keeps happening between the West and between India. But in many ways, would you feel that this is also a wake-up call to India to keep on realizing and to keep the eye fixed on who the real enemy is, who the real threat is? Because I guess a lot of analysts and experts would feel that the only real enemy, the only person with whom you can get into a shooting war who matters is China. And to that extent, India's foreign policy may have to be calibrated accordingly.
Absolutely. I think, there is no doubt that you have, in foreign policy, there is a longer game and there is a shorter game, right? In the short to medium term, you may, for example, want a certain kind of distance from the West or to create some space between you and the West for certain kinds of issues where you don't get along. But I think increasingly when we are looking at the big picture, you are coming to the conclusion that that big picture is being looked at through similar prisms by the West, and in particular by the US and by India. And there is no denying that. We have seen in terms of our operational capabilities, enhancing those capabilities. We have seen that in terms of what we are doing militarily. With certain countries, what we are doing with on critical and emerging technology. So I think if you look at the big picture, you see that China is emerging as a challenge, and a challenge of a kind that India is not in a position to unilaterally respond to. And that is also becoming clear. And sometimes there is a complaint that why is India not taking a more robust position? And the argument is pretty simple, that look, we are a decade, if not more, behind China in terms of our capabilities. And when you don't have internal capabilities, external partnerships become a mechanism of leveraging your engagements to your national interest. And I think that's what perhaps will have to be done much more robustly.
All right, Professor Pant, I think you make some really important points out there. Thank you so much for joining us. And look, my take on this entire matter is to say I think what Professor Pant has just said is something that we need to keep in mind. There's often a tendency here in India to react rather vociferously to whatever may happen in the West, and West will say something, make some statements we don't like, there will be irritants. But at the end of the day, the big threat, the big enemy is China, and it's going to remain China for a long period of time. And let's now turn our attention to some of what is being said by the international press, because, hey, we may have our own view of what's happening with the India story, but what is the rest of the world seeing about it? So this is a brand new segment that we're going to be bringing to you every week on the India Story. We're going to be taking a look at some of the pieces that are coming out about India in the global media. Not just in the Western media, all parts of the world, what are they saying about India? And here's a look at just 2 or 3 of the stories that have caught our eye today. There was a piece in the Washington Post by Bloomberg's opinion editor Ruth Pollard talking about India's drug industry and saying that it needs a major overhaul. India, of course, one of the largest providers of generic medicines in the world, producing 20% of the world's supply and exporting medicines to 200 nations, making 60% of all vaccines. It's supplied 58 million doses as gifts and commercial deals with at least 71 countries last year alone. But this particular Washington Post article also talking about the fact that certain safety measures and security measures need to be taken in mind, and in particular it is talking about some of the India-made cough syrups that have been linked allegedly to some deaths in Gambia and Uzbekistan, and saying this is something India needs to think about because it could have shaken India's reputation. And then there was this piece on BNB Bloomberg about India taking on China in the $447 billion space economy. It says that India is taking advantages over the rifts that are coming between China and the United States and the geopolitical isolation of China and Russia to pitch itself as a reliable alternative to SpaceX. An interesting story out here saying that space could be a crucial element of India's soft power and economic strategy. It also says India could perhaps position itself as a leading country in technology, and pointing to the fact that the Indian government has put a special focus in the space sector, the cabinet approving the Indian Space Policy 2023. So can India become a major provider to the rest of the world in space and overtake China and Russia and other countries in that? That's that article in Bloomberg. And then there was this New York Times article on NCRT's recent decision to remove portions related to Mahatma Gandhi, Nathuram Godse and Mughal history from textbooks. The New York Times talking about some of the passages that have actually been deleted there and looking at the entire controversy about the potential rewriting of history in India. So there was that article in the New York Times. Some of the stories that caught our eye when it came to the global media. And let's now turn our attention to the world of entertainment. Eid is coming up, and Eid is a festival of joy, celebrations, great food and brotherhood. But for millions of fans globally, it is special for one more reason. Salman Khan, Bollywood's favorite bhaijan, is ready to take the box office by storm this Eid with his new offering, Kisi Ka Bhai, Kisi Ki Jaan. And this time he will also recreate the magic of the Oscar-winning song Natu Natu, which of course has already become a global rage. Check out this special report.
He is a bhai to millions of his adoring fans. He is their bhaijan. For Salmaniacs around the world, he is the main deal. This Eid, the man who epitomizes brute stardom is returning to storm the box office again. Festivals are as integral to Bollywood as songs themselves, and if it is Eid, it surely means the return of Bhai. The man who has given Bollywood its biggest blockbusters on Eid is back to bring cheer to the industry, hit by a post-Pathan lull. If his brief cameo in the SRK monster hit was anything to go by, Bhaijan is set to storm the box office once again with his latest Kisi Ka Bhai, Kisi Ki Jaan. Even before its theatrical release, Salman's latest offering is shattering records on YouTube after the release of dance number Yen Tamma. If the catchy music and vintage Salman were not enough to make the fans go wild, the new single has kicked up a storm with Telugu superstar and RRR fame Ram Charan shaking a leg with Salman on screen. Sallubai is good friends with Ram's father, megastar Chiranjeevi, and had even played a small role in his film Godfather. Salman didn't charge for the part, and now Ram Charan is returning the favor. Interestingly, Ram Charan, who wowed the West with his amazing movies in Natu Natu, has recreated the magic with Salman and Telugu superstar Venkatesh. Kisi Kabai Kisi Ki Jaan, which is scheduled to release on April 21st, will show Salman playing the role of a self-appointed vigilante who is on a mission to make society crime-free. The action drama is directed by Farhad Samji and produced by Salman Khan Films.
And finally, the India story this week in history. Well, let's remember, for Indians all over the world, this week, a few years ago, 12 years ago, marked a dream. 12 years ago, this very week, a glorious chapter was added to Indian cricket history with MS Dhoni and his team lifting the ODI World Cup at home. A moment 28 years in the making after the 1983 triumph by Kapil's Devils. The whole of India rejoiced in unison, celebrating the victory of their beloved team. From India Gate to the gateway of India, streets all across the country were filled to the brim. The celebrations lasted for days, and the memory of that unforgettable night at Wankhede will always remain etched in our minds. So that was the India story this week in history. We are going to never forget that. And we are hoping for another chance to have exactly the same celebration a little later this year. And you know why? Because the World Cup is coming up once again, and once again it's going to be in India. And that's it on the India story this week. We'll be back again next week with another very special guest tracking the India story and taking the voice of India to the world. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.